website?
The streaming website died on me, so my computer kind of went and burped. So hopefully that doesn't burp inside the audio. I'm actually gonna mark that down.
Oh, I missed what you said on Twitch. Was there a TLDR?
The TLDR was if you expect to go into Worlds watching LCS every week, like you would watch LCS every week, where there's like a bunch of champions that are always contested, that are always picked. So you're pretty much watching the same thing. I think you'll be really surprised or sorely disappointed, one of the two, right? Whatever it is for you.
Oh, but man, like, I hope it's like last year.
Yeah,
it's just
I guarantee
champions.
We'll see Korea NA kind of tries to emulate Korea, but like China and the other foreign regions just kind of have their own metas and they play the only way they want.
And the name is escaping me, but one of the Chinese AD carries like just steadfastly believes that Twitch is the best counter to Lucian. So if Lucian does rise up, we might see people trying to prove that true or it being disproven.
I mean, it could be the guy who has a world championship skin of Twitch, which would be Imp, but he didn't make Worlds, so.
Yeah, it might have been him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but
yeah, they did pretty garbage this year. So, yeah, the other AD carry that got finally another buff is Corki, of course, a patch after the Worlds patch, so to make sure that Corki didn't make his 12th consecutive Worlds despite only 5 of them existing.
It's close call.
They buffed up his attack damage growth, which is only up 1 per level, but ends up giving him a full 17 AD at once he's at 18. So he went from 98.5 AD at rank 18, or sorry, at level 18 to 115, which is a nice little buff. Like especially
for a champ whose core item is Trinity Force.
Yes, that's the thing. Sheen's based on your base AD, so you.
And so really, this is just a buff to Whale.
And me, because I can now maybe play bot again. I can queue up as bot, even though I get support every time because no one else wants it.
Just go mid. Play Corki mid now.
I would do that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'm on the fence about Corki. I don't think the Trinity Force spike is as big as it was in previous seasons, so it doesn't make him as good.
Not for him.
Out of the bottom lane.
But they want to push him. They're slowly tweaking, and this is smart with him because he has been such a character that is like worlds, like just becomes a worlds like phenomenon when because of one patch, and they don't want to have that happen again. Granted, it's the patch after Worlds, but it still affects like the entirety of the meta. Corki can do that,
right?
And that's not just because I love him. It's because I think it's true.
No, it's when Corki gets popular, suddenly mobility becomes the go-to trait for AD carries. Yep.
Gotta dodge the Q.
Well, let's head back to the top.
Dodge the rockets.
Anivia is being changed. I think she is the winningest mid later right
now.
Yeah,
quietly she's sitting at the top of the charts there.
Fucking bird.
Yeah, so they're just kind of hitting her E a little bit. The damage has gone down by 5, 10, 15. The normal progression of what it is. The chill damage has also gone down by 10, 20, 30. You can do that progression as well. She was just the combo of hitting somebody and then hitting a giant chilled crit. Like the E was coded as a crit. Just a little too much for her, for somebody who needs to, somebody that can easily clear waves, even to stay in the mid, etc.
You gotta get 50 ability power to make up for it, basically.
Yeah, I meant to check this first, but I think it kind of made sense that I think she dropped a little bit when the first change for her expanding ultimate came out, because it was another skill-based thing that a lot of people had to relearn. But then once they figured it out again, it's become pretty strong, and I mean it shows. They have to nerf her chilled E damage by 50. That's that's a huge nerf.
Yeah, I think so.
Wow, I always thought she was a big time skill based champion, but
she is.
I don't know, but you look at the charts and win rate by games played, 1 to 5 is at 48%, but then 5 to 15, 53.99.
Well,
but then it spikes at 50 by 5 more percent.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, already 5 to 15. That's not that many games.
Can I not play? Can I not? I'm going to. Can I not play devil's advocate here and say that if we're looking at Champion GG and it's looking at only platinum games, the skill level of players and platinum of high or higher at this point in season 6.
No, that's a good point.
Is the skill based champions are probably not as skill based anymore when the skill ceiling continues to raise.
That's a very good point.
Yes. So I think we need to start, and I just thought of it now, I think we need to start keeping that as mind as we start talking about these. So if we're somebody, if you're in silver or bronze, you potentially, I'm going to say potentially because you definitely could, you'd be stuck down there, etc. Could have the skill to play her. It just may not be as effective as if you were higher and had more games on her, I guess. I'm trying to figure out how to end that without calling you a shitter.
It's a good thing you didn't just end it like that, because then they definitely know.
Well,
Hey, let's talk about another OP mid laner.
Aurelion Sol, the guy.
Yeah.
I love Aurelion Sol.
Aurelion Sol's
Very
probably
good
one of the
point.
only mid laners I can play besides Corki, and I don't understand why I can play him. I guess it's maybe the fact that I just need to move my stars towards something, and that's
You don't
it.
have to hit-
I
you
don't
don't
have
do
to
anything.
actually do shit.
But I have to
it's
get better at doing that now.
Can I
Yep.
see the Aurelion Sol tonight?
Sure, I'll play him tonight.
Yes, I love it. All right, so Dom has the numbers, but we'll just talk about it real quick. They tried to shift some of his power, but what happened? They tried to shift some of his power, but really what happens is they let me take that back. They tried to shift it to make you to force you to build more AP. Because right now the Aurelion Sol build is the Hextech. What is it, like the frozen Hextech belt? I can't remember the GLP 9000.
GLP.
Yep.
Yeah. You rush that, and then
Glacial
you go right
Lance.
into Rylai's.
I just made that up, so I didn't know what I was going to finish
That was
with.
a good
but-
start.
Damn it! I don't know what the B would be. Projectiles? Okay, we'll go with that.
Sure. But yeah, Glacial Lance projectiles. I like
Not
it.
bad. It's not bad. I thought you were going to go a different route with that.
I could have gone a way worse route.
Yeah, a much worse route.
Right. But there's not much AP in that build at all between Rylai's and the GLP 9000, or the hell the thing is called. There's just not much AP. So they're trying to force you to build a little more AP with this. So what they did is they took his passive, and they increased the passive damage
Which
max
is just
rank.
it's just stars. Stars. This is just the stars damage.
They increased the per level gains a little bit, and it depends on the level, and it's really there isn't any like linear sense to it, so I don't want to get into it from there.
It's like
they
2,
increased that
3,
damage.
15, 47, and then it's really weird.
What?
But they
No, it's not that.
No,
but
it's really weird.
It's really weird.
It looks like it should go up by like 2
No.
per level.
It doesn't.
It doesn't.
It seriously
it's-
goes like 2, 3, 7, 8, 12, that type
No,
of thing.
it's
goes up
like
super.
it's a 4 current now. It increases by 4 until like level 6 or level 7, and then all of a sudden you only get 3, and then it goes up to 5 or 7 or some shit like that. Like it's just.
I
It's
should
weird.
have meant that I think the change should have been a +2 across the board to what the numbers were, and
more-
and actually that is actually what it is, because it was going up by 2 for a long time, and then went up by 3, and then by 5. So yeah, actually it looks like it's just 2 across the board was the change. They just added 2 to those plus level bonuses.
No, it's more than that, because the max rank was 97. It's now 130.
Yeah, and if you add 2 to like 17 times, that's 34
No,
extra damage.
'cause
that
ranking-
math works
if-
out.
when you hit-
That's exactly 100.
When you hit level 17, or I'm sorry, when you hit level 18, it gains 19 points, like just from that level up. Not
Yeah. It's
it's
the way the
crazy.
numbers work. It's not a flat like 2 in every rank. It's just these.
Yeah.
It
No,
seems
I'm not.
random.
Okay.
I get what you're
I'm
trying
saying
to say.
I'm saying a different thing than you guys are saying. Is the thing.
the thing they nerfed was the bonus damage on Celestial Expansion. That used to just give a flat 10 to 50 based on rank, and now it's 5 to 25. And so it ends up being a noticeable damage dip, or a meaningful damage dip, really at level 8, because that's when you would normally have max rank Celestial Expansion, and now you're losing, it's a net of 13 damage per star, which is meaningful on that champion, since that's where all his damage is.
Again, that's 13. That's 13 per star when you're not
Correct.
outer limiting it. Which I guess the outer limit would mean it would be 20 total that you're missing.
19 and a half, yeah.
Yeah,
Good-
okay.
Good on the fly math.
Damn.
Because what happened with Celestial Expansion is W, and the W again is when you push the stars out in the outer limit, they do more damage, is they halved the damage. The bonus damage was 10 at first rank, and it's now 5, and it goes that across the board. So it's 25 at max rank rather than 50. The cost has had also a mana increase. It was 40 plus 16, 22 up to 40. It is now 40 plus 22 base up to 30. So it costs more early and less late.
I was surprised that, I mean, overall, you lose damage until you hit level 18, and then the stars are actually dealing more than they were on 6.18 and everything prior to that. I was really surprised that it was so much damage lost on the levels between, I guess, 10 and 17. I mean, because like even still at level 16, he lost 8 damage per star compared to what it was.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people might discredit how much that isn't, like, they might say 8 damage, that's not really anything. But when you think about how many times your stars are hitting over the course of a game, hitting minions, hitting champions, hitting anything, like that's a lot. Like that's a lot of damage you're missing out on. You could probably see that. I wish you could maybe see like damage dealt by passive for the entire game, like as a stat, but that would be kind of crazy to code.
Right.
But you could see that probably fall I don't know, a good 10-15% by this. I don't know. That was crazy guesstimate there, but a significant amount definitely.
Even if we say it's 10% damage reduction, that's a lot of damage reduction over the course of a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just keep going. I just keep wondering if people are going to start putting a little bit of extra priority on Q, but I don't play him, so I can't.
I think the damage
and he's such a weird champion that you can't just look at his numbers and think, oh, people are going to do this instead, because he doesn't play the way he doesn't play like any other champion.
You don't get very much out of the if your cooldown may be dropped with Q, ranking it might be okay. Like you might end up getting more out of it. Your stun duration goes up by a little bit. Like it goes up 1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4, 1.5, but you don't get enough damage to matter as much. You're going to get so much more damage out of your stars anyways. I think that it, as much as somebody might think, hey, let's at least consider it, I don't think it'll be worth it. There's other changes on here too with his E.
What's the flat cooldown on Q?
The flat cooldown is 10 seconds.
Yeah, see, that's a really long time. You're blowing that 10-second cooldown to help clear the wave, and then you have to try to E into. Then you want to E to a bot. Let's devil's advocate, you max Q, you've used Q to blow the wave, but now you want to use Q to go and gank a lane, and by the time that has happened, you'll likely have 3 to 4 seconds left on your cooldown, and you need those extra 3 to 4 seconds to increase the size of the Q.
Yeah, I
1
would
to
be
2 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, either way, like you definitely want more of that. And I mean, the other thing is, if you have Q and that's your only source of damage for any sort of fighting, like it is very predictable in lane. Like you can't really walk up and like you can either like just get them with like a quick snap hit, but if you try to use that very much, it's very obvious. Like you're way better off getting the star damage because you can just throw that out, come back if you want. Even though that toggle is going to be a bit more mana now at early ranks, that's going to be the damage you're going to get in lane. The other change is E. You can cast it. Is it any time now? Or does it have to be
out of combat for 5 seconds? So when not taking damage for 5 seconds. Oh,
let's say they removed that. They removed that.
Yeah, they removed the escape velocity thing, but it goes on a 5-second cooldown after you take damage. So you can use it any time unless you take
out
damage.
Of a fight.
Okay, that's kind of interesting.
Just good.
That's very.
Yeah, I mean, so I've gotten him a handful of times in like an ARAM and that type of thing, and I found that ability frustrating to use. So as a general player, this is a good quality of life change. I'm sure this fucks somebody like Huhi, but he'll get over it and adjust.
Yeah,
it makes it better for Huhi though. You don't have to run around.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where he'll be so used to doing it the one way that now that it's changed, it's going to take him a minute to adjust, and he will play wrong, I guess, because it's not the way he expects it to be, but he should adjust in 4 games tops.
Well, luckily he doesn't have to try that out for a while because he's at Worlds, and they're playing on the patch before this. That's cool though. Yeah, they are. This is not they won't have this change.
I would have really liked to see this change.
Else.
I would have really liked to see this change with a minor nerf to like maybe W's just mana cost, right? Rather than this like weird damage change they're doing, because I would have liked to see what happened to Aurelion Sol. Then I'm sure he would have come barreling into mid lane and everybody would have tried to play him and he would have been a pretty dominant force. But like, I I wish it was that way all the time, where you just got free use of your ability as long as you were out of combat. I don't like having to stack up something.
It's a weird change given how infrequently he is played.
Yeah, I'd agree.
I mean, even just by Lol King, he's sitting at 1.9% popularity. And he wins when he gets picked, but odds are good that's mostly, Aurelion Sol mains who are playing him, so...
Right.
Yep.
Let's move on, since we have some other champions getting here. We've spent a solid 10 minutes talking about Aurelion Sol. Cassiopeia has had some changes in this patch as well, because she's a pretty big force. By the way, you still can't buy boots on her. Just want to let you guys know that. Her W...
That's in the patch notes. Pone's not just being, snide. It's actually in the patch notes.
Yeah. Her W, the Misama, cast range...
What? No. Go back and try that again.
Miasma? I can't say it.
Oh my god. This is
closer.
from Final Fantasy games. Miasma?
Oh, miasma. That makes sense, actually. That makes a lot of sense. I'm missing the A. Miasma, cast range 900 went down to, or is now down to 800. And E, Twin Fang, healing on poison targets now scales with level rather than scaling with how many points you put into E.
I have not run into too many Cassiopeias, but holy shit is she annoying to play against.
Yes. Very scary.
Yeah.
It's not she is scary, but she's always been scary as far as her damage output. But the way Miasma works now, it is just infuriating in a lot of cases.
Yeah, this is another, I think, same kind of situation. They mentioned in the patch notes is kind of like what I was saying about Anivia, was there was a kind of big change to how you're supposed to play her. There's no boots, you lose that mobility early. But now that people have figured out those ranges, have figured it out how to use Twin Fang, because it's a weirder healing situation now, they got to tone back the power on it. And I think people were maxing E, so that is a significant amount of healing you're taking away until later ranks. So that's because you're getting 1 healing per level. So at level 9, you would have had 13. You will now have 13 healing on hit for Twin Fang. Before you would have 25, and you're spamming that ability. That's a lot of healing you're losing.
That's a lot.
If you're still maxing that ability, that is.
And you would be.
I don't know why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
When it's on a low cooldown, even off of being poisoned,
yeah,
just loses some damage.
Yep.
Dr. Mundo has had some changes in this patch as well. Minimum damage on Masochism, it was 20 to 100, is now 30 to 110, so it does more damage. Maximum damage is 60 to 220, so again, does more damage. Cooldown is now down to 6 seconds, allowing him
You're playing with fire. Playing with fire by doing
I hate it when they touch this guy.
Is the bug still in the game where you're still doing max life damage on every hit of his E? There was a weird bug where E was still doing all of that max life damage every time he attacked with it, as long as it was, or
I hope
something
not.
like that.
I've not heard of that before.
Yeah, there was. I'll have to go look it up. They may have never touched it, and I don't think I've ever seen the patch notes. But there was a bug where on his first attack with E, right, he does max life damage.
Yeah.
That was persisting, if I remember correctly, through the duration of E.
That's frightening.
But it was never documented, and no one ever brought it up, except for some 20-point votes on Reddit or 20-point threads.
Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about bug fixes. It has it in there that it deals bonus physical damage, but that's should be expected.
Wait, so
at this point.
what's the? I'm confused here. What damage is this?
Whenever I use Dr. Mundo's E, this was as of June 26th.
I'm sorry. I figured it out. This is minimum AD that you get, not minimum damage it does. Because you would get 30 to 110 AD, like that. Okay, this makes way more sense.
Yeah.
All right. I thought the way this reads, it makes it seem like this is the damage when you had that first auto attack, and instead it's the AD you get based on how much health you're missing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, makes way more sense.
Well, I don't know if this bug got fixed. I should have looked it up. The on-hit max health damage keeps going on every time I attack. So you continually lose the amount of health because you lose that as well, but you're doing a ton of damage every time you hit with somebody with an E. And that was as of June 26th. I see a bug report.
Wow, I hope not.
2 months ago, I'm just kind of Googling. July 19th, as of patch 6.14, it was still bugged.
That means it had to have been like that since the last time they touched masochism, which was earlier than June. That was in the spring, was it not? 'Cause I remember playing Mundo around that time. Masochism was doing a ton of damage, so they had to tone it down.
Yeah, they went from
That's when
like
he
3 to
disappeared.
they toned down the percentage on it.
There is a lot of as of like July 20th. There's still a thread here. I would assume it's still bugged and still doing that.
Might be
Okay.
time to abuse Mundo then, I guess, if you're making a late season push.
All right, tonight we're playing Aurelion Sol and Dr. Mundo. Unsettled.
And that's pretty easy to test. Just go in the game and see if you're doing that. much
Yeah,
damage
it doesn't
yourself.
keep doing a shit ton of damage that doesn't make sense. Yeah, okay.
So yes, they're playing with fire. We'll see what happens with Mundo. I think he could be on the precipice to coming back.
Most of the time, he comes back due to outside circumstances like masteries or with the metas in the top lane. But yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I'm saying
he-
they're playing with fire here, because they're giving him they're giving him some potency that could come back later if they ever touched on something like
If
grasp
he does
it.
come back, he could very easily warp the top lane meta.
yes, yep.
Actually, thinking about this E is kind of at least a 1-point wonder for the first 9 levels because you still go Cleaver. Cleaver's still like what you always get, and the fact that they're boosting the AD you get minimally by 10, maximally by 20, like that's a lot for your early trades. Like if you're fighting an AD mid lane or sorry AD top laner or sorry melee range top laner, you're getting a lot of extra.
He's already-
just from that. Like you're getting 10 extra damage on your first auto from that at least, and then you're also getting that for all those other autos, and the cooldowns down too. That actually might be a really big change, more than
It's his
more
level
than it
2
looks like.
ability, you know, so...
Yeah.
Right. And
That,
if he's
he
doing
can just
5%
walk on you and
damage
just
every
stand
time-
on you and fucking
Yeah.
wail. Okay, if that
Which is-
5% is still there, that's
is
not. That
kinda-
can't still be a thing. I can't imagine that's still a thing. But
We can go.
even if
patch-
it is not, I believe that it's still going to be a big enough change that he will be pretty good with that.
Let's do this. Let's go patch 6.16.
Which then it's weird, because like even if you're bad at hitting your Qs, you're still going to get rewarded for it later on. What a weird champion.
This also could actually end up influencing his jungle too, because you
Oh, yeah.
end up getting a lot of damage because you're low. You get more from that early, more AD from that early E. I think you could get a lot of jungle jungle clear time going up from that.
No, that bug is still there. I just went back to the last, because as of patch 6.14, it was still there. I found that thread. I went through 1.5 to 1.8 and searched just the word Mundo, and he never showed up. I mean, he showed up once, but it wasn't.
Well, he didn't show up in game either, so
Right. So that bug is still there if you guys want to go abuse Mundo, because I think he's abusable and some setups.
Watch the host of the Trinity Force podcast get banned for encouraging bug abuse.
No, we talked about this. It's not bug abuse.
Play to win.
Play to win. This is the scrub mentality.
I agree. It's just one of those like, well, if it's something in the game that's not intended, what's right going to tell people who are encouraging others to do that? I'm fine if you figure something else out.
You didn't ruin
out
it for
on your
5
own.
patches. It's not like I'm hacking the game to use it. I'm just using what you've left in the game. I'm sorry.
No,
right?
I'm right there with you. Abuse the hell out of it. Abuse whatever is strong and powerful, because that's how you get out front.
All right, let's talk about Kled. Speaking of powerful, somewhat. This is Punch's champion.
Oh my god, the side eye there was
oh wait,
beautiful.
hey, real quick. The ability reads for the next 5 seconds. Dr. Mundo's next phase. Okay, I'm
Serial has now taken
He's
his
done.
headset off and he's walked away. All right, let's talk about Kled. Guys, if you haven't watched Punch stream, well, he can't stream on Monday nights anymore. He'll stream on T-Force Podcast too if you want to watch that, maybe. But if you haven't watched Punch stream or play with Punch as he plays Kled, he really gets into the character. He really enjoys
I am
playing Kled. And there's a lot of yelling charge and Scarl.
Glad lives inside of me. And Scarl responds better when I talk to him.
Whatever
Yes.
it is. So he has very much been enjoying Kled. Passive Scarl, the cowardly lizard. Kled's basic attack, this has been removed, so now Kled does 100% damage when he is demounted.
Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, that was a struggle. If you get stuck in lane
bet.
without Scarl, basically you're essentially worthless because you can't push, you
And you can't last hit
roam.
the way you think you're gonna.
Yeah, you struggle last hitting on a turret because you're doing reduced damage, and good luck last hitting under the turret when you're not doing as much damage as he could be. So yeah, this removing that so he does full damage to minions and monsters helps. Particularly because last hitting is doubly important because when you last a minion, you get more courage back, so you get Scarl back faster. And it is painfully slow to get Scarl back when you're just last hitting.
And not hitting
like
champions
4 to 5 waves of last hitting.
Oh my god.
I mean, it was a cute idea to put in there, and it fit a lot thematically. But I mean, it's a good change to make now that he's been around for a while.
Yeah, the idea is they want to reward you for being aggressive because you are going to get Scarl a lot faster if you're attacking the enemy hero. But as people learn to play against Kled, they realize not to let him do that. Like, get away, Kled. Stop that. No courage for you.
There's not a whole lot
you
he
out
can
of
do
lane
about
because
that.
you can't do shit.
Once he's on foot, there's not a whole lot. He has no say in that.
All right, well, let's talk about the ability Charge! Because that's literally what it's called in game.
That was good.
Thank you.
I wish, I wish you had a sword right there. That would have really,
Sold it.
yeah.
Those are
Movement speed, trail duration is now down to 6 seconds. Range was 4,500 at all ranks. Is now 4,500.
I can't speak too much on the movement speed trail duration because I never played with a Scarl.
Oh my god, it's amazing. It's the
I was
best ever
always
and
glad.
also infuriating if he's running at you.
I didn't really pay attention if anybody was following me, so I mean, if you were, thanks.
There was nothing like picking Tarek and then just running right behind Kled and casting turrets. Also, you're basically invulnerable when you show up to the fight, and they're all panicking and reacting and wasting spells and abilities. And then you take no damage, and then you just cleaned up.
It's still,
I got that,
6
like,
seconds still
twice.
seems a long time. I mean, I can't imagine
Oh, yeah,
somebody
it's still great.
waiting around for 4 seconds before deciding to join you. And I usually waited until somebody was nearby with me so they could ult together.
Yeah, because
So
the
it's just
one,
like,
You don't-
all right,
you don't
catch up
like to
later.
use it the fun way.
the few times that I've watched you, he's
wanna
like,
win.
I'm charging into this fight, and then he hits Renekton, and he's like, I don't know what I
It's right in front of
expected.
me.
Literally says, I don't know what I expected.
Yeah, the guy that was right next to me when I started casting charge. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that guy. So I didn't go anywhere. So as far as the range is concerned, since you lose the majority of the range in the early game, I'm thinking in context of ganking another lane before going back to yours. So you go back to base, gank bot lane with your ultimate, then teleport back to top. So I checked on the range before we started podcasting tonight, and I could get to... So if the enemy bot lane is pushed up to your turret, I would basically need to be halfway between the 2 turrets at bottom lane in order to ult behind them, which is pretty close. If they're sitting around the middle of the lane, so they're just the wave is in the middle of bot lane, I have to be basically right behind bot lane turret
Oh, wow. Okay.
in order to ult behind them. Because again, like you actually want, this doesn't work like Nocturne's ult where you can just cast it as soon as somebody's in within range. You normally want to cast behind them so that you can go further in case they back off.
Right.
So that you keep chasing and then Scarl attacks them and you get a kill and everyone's happy. So essentially, you can kind of think of this max range as having like 500 less because you want that about 500 range. You want to go 500 range over
Okay.
your target. That's how I think about
And
it.
now it's 1,000 range less at rank 1. So you have to pretty much be like... Well,
You
it
gotta
is.
be close.
It's 3,500 at rank 1. It was 4,500. So...
Yes.
And this... Were there Kleds that were not putting extra points in the W after the first one? Was that like a pro build strat?
Was that? That would be news to me.
I wanna
It was always Q and then W, as far as I know.
No, probably not. He probably hasn't been out long enough for people to do that. It looks
He-
like...
I mean, and it cuts 20 seconds per rank off the cooldown, and it's a good ability, so...
Yeah, it's fair. I just remember like Pantheon. Old Pantheon, you would only put
Oh,
one
you're talking
point
about
in R, right? So, yeah, let's keep going. Leona, you can we talked about animation canceling a few episodes ago. You can now animation cancel Zenith Blade. So
That was around for a long time, and then they accidentally removed it in 6.18, and some Redditor complained and whined and showed videos of it, and then they're like, oh, hey, our bad.
right, so there it is. Singed Q Poison Trail. Ticks per second was 1, and now goes to 4. Damage per second has been unchanged, however.
Oh,
So-
thank goodness it's been unchanged, right, guys?
Right,
Right?
right.
Right.
Not right?
I mean,
Not right.
did you
Before
see
I
the
get to
bug?
Baron?
You see the bug? Yeah, it's doing quadruple damage to Baron.
they've already disabled him though.
You know what's funny is that there was also another bug part of that. Besides the fact that they found out that it was doing quadruple damage, they also found out that Singed was only doing his base damage to Baron, and AP didn't add to damage to Baron for like an entire season, but
wow.
no one had recognized it till now. And so they just they fixed that too. So Singed got like quality. I shouldn't say quality of life buff. It was just a bug fix that is a buff.
It's a patch too late. Loopers at World. He was gonna break out Singed, and he's useless to them.
Nope.
So, if you guys are wondering what that is, the ticks per second. Now you obviously have 4 ticks in 1 second, meaning that Rylai's what's the I can't remember the fucking face mask thing. What the hell is it called right
Leandri's?
now? Leandri's, right? That'll tick more often. DFT will tick more often. Whatnot. So potentially you are increasing the amount of damage that you're doing because this is ticking 4 times in a second. Even though there's probably an internal cooldown in all those items. Because every time an item ticks, that'll refresh the cooldown of it. Every time you do damage, it refreshes the cooldown of Rylai.
I'm wondering if that would actually be a damage increase for Deathfire Touch. Since it's just refreshing at a reduced damage per tick.
Well, that's fair. I don't know. I'd have to do the math, and I don't feel like doing the math of that.
It's too late for math.
Yeah.
Dom does all our math, and he chose to do math on Aurelion Sol.
Well, Cereal Box does it pretty well in his head too. So
that seemed like the important math.
This is logic. This isn't math. This is logic. This is how does the logic tie in for DFT?
I can't do logic either.
Yeah, so
it's not during the day.
I can
not
do digital logic. That's very different.
Let's talk about Soraka because she has been a problem for a while. Astral Infusion, the cooldown went from 4 seconds to 8 seconds, and it still goes back down to 2, but it's been increased between the higher tier ranks.
So, like, obviously this is a nerf to her early game more than anything else, and it kind of gives opponents a window of opportunity to do something, to her should they manage to at least get one heal out. I don't know how game-changing it ends up being in that regard. What it does affect is her current highest winning skill order, which is actually to put priority on Star Call over Astral Infusion, because the cooldown was so low that she could just keep poking with Star Call, heal herself back up, turn around and heal her partner anytime they needed to, and it was a non-issue there. I still think her issue is that her mana costs are so ridiculously low. Like, between her base mana, her base mana pool, her base regen, and her base regen scaling, she has just a ridiculous amount of mana available to her, and then on top of that, she normally gets Ancient Coin. She has a ton of mana available to her, and whenever you play against her in lane, in my experience at least, it always just feels like you can't do anything because she's never going to run out of the resources. Mm-hmm. Like, in theory, you are supposed to dodge every single Q. Well, that's only so possible, and the second she starts hitting you with those, then she's regenerating all of her health back up, and she wasn't running out of mana.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen a Soraka really run out of mana. It's been more or less running out of life than mana. It's not that, more than anything else, it tends to just be unfun to play against.
Okay. She's really good, and she's really good in the game and everything, and certainly good enough to ban, at least currently. Part of the reason that I prefer to ban her is just because it turns laning phase into this, okay, I'm going to wait until I get ganked situation because your jungler's not coming down there. Not with Soraka.
Sure. Yeah, you have to attack Soraka, then hope you don't die from the 80 carry barrage.
Yeah.
And, so then you also are forced to take Ignite at that point because you want to stop the heals.
Yeah.
But
it changes the entire...
But you need to take Exhaust because you're ganking Soraka who can't heal herself. It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. There are a lot of frustrations that come with playing against her, and probably it's really fun to play as her. I never really got around to picking her up.
I played her in, Season 5? She wasn't really that fun to play, to be honest with you.
She's never been that fun to play.
It's fun for winning.
If you like the style of play like I like doing a lot, which is making like being sure that the other team is real pissed off at you,
Yeah,
or
that
when you
sounds like-
occasionally get like the holy shit, how did you keep me alive that fight? That's the only two
Those are
times.
those
it's
are
okay.
the awesome ones.
I like doing that. I just like doing it with shit like the Braum shield or
Yeah.
Dude, we were
Damn term canch.
yeah,
Oh.
yes.
Yeah. I love Braum. I actually have a renewed love for Braum, not because I've been playing with Dom. I'm sorry. Dom was probably like, oh, hey.
Is this attack speed Braum, Tommy?
No, it's not even that either. No, I was playing with Dark Ringnu, right? Corey is his name. And we're playing, and he is a Braum main, and shit goes down in the bottom lane, and like Ezreal casts his ult, and then he puts it in his Braum shield and blocks it. And I'm like, holy shit! You actually blocked something, right? Not like him, but like, holy shit, a Braum blocked something, right? I don't ever see Braums, and even in Diamond, they're not that fast.
Blocked plenty of shit for you.
I'm sure you have, but it was just that one time where like this. It's not often you see somebody like use like, here comes a Nami ult. Pfft, I blocked that, right?
Yeah.
Like
it's so fun. Just totally read what they're gonna do. I love picking Braum into Lucian and Misfortune just because like they think they're being all sneaky and they're really, really patient, but I'm more patient.
And hey, here's my shield. Oh yeah, didn't do anything. It was that one moment. It had been how many seasons of Braum's come out that I saw that I noticed it, and I'm like, oh my god, you blocked it, you saved my life. We turned that around, and I literally said, that's awesome. That was sweet. And it completely. I love Braum now because like that.
Braum's a good champion, man.
Yeah. Let's talk about Udyr. I wish Sean was here to talk about this.
I do wish Sean was here for this.
We might have to circle back around it. But Udyr Phoenix Stance proc damage has been increased. I know Sean has said for a very long time that Udyr is suffering. He is the redhead stepchild of the jungle. If he's good, he's good. If he's bad, he's bad. That's pretty much how he plays. Phoenix
Also,
Stance proc
every
damage.
champion in this game.
There's really no middle ground with Udyr, though. Like, Udyr is never like 50%. He could be good or bad.
He's been more like... He swung more with the items that were
That's fair.
in flavor than it was ever like his kit.
I think this allows Sean to be back in the jungle as Phoenix Stance Udyr, though he's probably going to start bitching about the items and Runic not doing as good or Blood Razor not being as great. But they're making Phoenix Stance do more damage. It'll do more initial damage, or it'll do more damage quicker. How's that? That's the way to do it, because the total time the burn lasts is now 4 seconds rather than 5. So it'll do more damage quicker, and the burn damage per tick has been unchanged. It's just the initial proc damage.
I'd be really interested to hear analysis between Udyr and Volibear, and why you might want to start picking Udyr over Volibear, or why you wouldn't. Because, I mean... That's what I initially think of is, I know Volibear is having success right now, so why can't Udyr? Is it just that Volibear is strictly better?
Udyr's like always gonna split push better.
I gotta go look, and this is just a feeling, but I gotta imagine that Volibear has better base stats than Udyr does, because Udyr has Turtle Stance and healing built into his kit with or Turtle Stance.
Volley's got his passive.
It's not that. I think I have to look. I should just look.
No,
I want to say that
bet
Udyr has lower base stats than Volibear does.
I would put money on that as well. That's a very logical assessment to make.
That's probably going to help his. I don't play jungle nor Udyr, but like just looking at the level. Let's say level 1. So you lose 10 damage on your burn, right? On the extra tick, but in easily one stance, you should have the first proc. So like the first auto attack after you hit R is a proc, and then I don't know how many autos it takes to take down a camp, but I'm gonna guess it's a bunch, and each of those is 15 damage up. Mm-hmm. So that's actually gonna clear pretty quick. Like that's gonna be a big change in terms of clear speed, I would think.
Clear speed as long as you have blue.
Yeah, but I mean, like even if you just leave it up, even if you just leave R up, you're still getting 15 extra damage every 3 autos, right. which is 15 more damage than you did before. And then you don't, if you weren't even using R again, then you don't lose out on the burn damage too.
So I looked it up because I was curious. The major difference is that Volibear has a higher base attack damage by just 1.2. Volibear has higher armor by 1.4 roughly, or no.
These are all
1,
things that...
just about 1.9. Sorry, 1. But the thing is, Volibear has a significantly higher base health regen, or was it?
There it is.
The health regen stat and the mana regen stat is significantly higher. Udyr's is 6,
Mana.
Volibear's is 8.
These are all, like, those don't sound like big numbers, but they are really meaningful when you look at it from the scope of, like, I mean, that's extra damage every single auto attack. That's damage reduction every single time he gets hit by a jungle monster. Like, those are just the little things that really swing champions from good to great, or from, okay to bad.
And to be fair, Volibear doesn't have to switch stances to gain attack speed in the jungle. He just naturally gains attack speed by having a point in W. Every time he swings, he gains a little bit of attack speed, too.
Unlimited. That's not true, but that would be cool.
Up to a point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the health regen there helps a lot, because you don't have to spend so much mana to gain your health back. You don't have to spend any mana. You just naturally regen an extra 2 health per 5 seconds.
But, I mean, Mitch is right that the proc damage change more than makes up for the attack damage difference right now.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'll be curious.
And that's AoE.
If that ends up being like I feel like that's going to end up being more impactful than like gank damage that you might get off here. Like, you're just going to clear faster, and maybe that's what pushes him more into viability. But clear speed doesn't seem to be as linked in my mind solo queue wise with like being like really, really good.
If you want clear speed, you know who you should play is Ivern, because he has the fastest level clear speed in the game right now.
Oh man.
Backing up just a second, the Phoenix stance that changes again, like, that's just gonna help his split pushing even more. He's
fair.
dealing all this extra fucking damage to the minions.
Yep. Yeah, 35 extra at rank 5 per proc is pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's to
significant
everything
amount
it
of
hits.
damage.
It's not like it's one target. It's just whatever fucking burns.
So for those of you out there, before Monday rolls around and we talk about Ivern, Ivern can make it to level 3 in about 54 seconds. Starting
Balanced.
And right now, and that was just like some random guy posted a video. It might be faster than that, right? What he did is he started Gromp, went to blue. He doesn't take these, right? He just does the little circle around him, preps them. So he preps Gromp, he preps blue, he walks over to red, preps red, smites it, instantly walks back to blue, instantly takes it, instantly takes Gromp, full life.
Boy, that the video that Riot posted when they just teased him really made it seem like he had to stand there and just do nothing while he prepped that.
He doesn't. It's a pretty long channel time between.
You have to wait 40 seconds at rank 1 for it to fully mature, but you don't have to be there for it.
Yeah, see, the video makes it look like you kind of have to be there for it.
Yeah, the bigger issue is going to be how easy is it to counter jungle him if a team is ready for it. Kind of like old Amumu, like when you just say, hey, if we screw up Amumu's blue buff, he's pretty done. This is Ivern's coming back to pick up his first camp and is at 10 health. So you kind of need to you can just destroy the shit out of him if you find him right.
The good thing about him, the way they made him, is that at level 2 he can gank with a root and a 70% slow.
Yes, that is the other cool thing. But it's the other thing that you got to remember is that he also he may not really. I know the time to clear goes down with level, but you also don't get your abilities to help you clear faster because they don't do anything to minions.
Right.
Or to monsters, I should say. So I don't know how that's going to end up being, but I love his kit is just so cool, and we shouldn't delve into it because I won't stop.
Yeah, no, we'll talk about it Monday. He's a very, very, very cool champion. So that you guys know, in this game, undo purchase now, if you had bought an item that gave you life and you sold it on any of the live patches up to this point, you would lose any health that you regened while in base. They have fixed that now, so if you bought Warmogs, gained 1,000 life, and gained 500 between the time that you sold it again or undid the purchase, you will have that extra 500 life still on your character. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you still regen life while you are buying or selling items.
Other things, they fixed a bug that they apparently reintroduced with Alistar's headbutt. So if you were briefly running that Emperor Palpatine build again, it's not going to work the way you
I saw it.
You wanted it to.
I ran into it once. Guy playing top lane Alistar.
Once was enough. Riot, stop that real quick.
There's
I wonder who just checks that. Like every patch is like, I wonder if this works again. I miss it.
I mean, there are just those one-trick pony players who are going to play a champion at every role, irrespective of where they got placed in autofill or whatever. So, right. I mean, that's how it really comes up. Because they're also the players that are going to notice, oh, wait, I did a little bit more damage. Time to buy Static Shiv.
Well, you can also HUD pings. I'm sure everybody and their brother has seen this. You can pretty much ping anything in the game at this point. You can ping enemy and ally summoner spell cooldowns via the scoreboard, respawn timers, passive with cooldown experience, a bunch more items, current gold, and gold needed for purchase. So
You know, it'd be so cool, and I know they wouldn't do this, but if you could like ping a ward, like an enemy ward, if you're able to ping it before it goes invisible, it would bring up the time till it goes away. But that would be too much information.
Or at least-
it might
at
tell
least
you who it was, and
Say something
that's
in
too
chat
much.
like enemy ward here.
Yeah,
I think people have been wanting that for a while. Like, I need an enemy ward is here ping.
yeah,
it'd be
So I
weird.
have to-
It'd be
so I have
weird.
to
It'd be
type
weird
that
to
out.
make it into a 5, into splitting the circle into into fifths instead
Yeah.
of quarters would be the difficult part, and people readjusting to that. But
well, I think that's it, right?
No.
Is that it?
They
Oh.
fixed Captain Volibear's epaulette.
He
They
just
did.
wanted to say epaulette.
Yes, I did. Yes, I did.
But there we go. I mean, we just rolled through patch 6.19 and we took care of every piece of that. So you guys should be ready to jump right in the game and dominate with Mundo in the top lane. Please jump out there and play him. You'll have a lot of fun. I think that Mundo is sleeper.
Might be.
I think that, I mean, I already said that. I think he's going to be really good in either jungle or top with that.
Right. I think so I'm gonna ping
I
Sky
like that. That
and
seems like a smart prediction.
there you
That's
go.
weird for me.
Yeah. Well,
This is
It's like
probably the
Jungle
most-
Brand. Jungle Brand wasn't a great prediction at the beginning of the season.
Who
Or
was it?
beginning
You?
of the mid-season mage update.
Man, I should have played Jungle Brand while I was playing Jungle Braum, but I know you guys brought that up. Like, why aren't you playing Jungle Brand? Oh, you gotta play Jungle Braum instead. Thanks, guys.
Jungle Brand probably would have been better.
Probably.
wow, that is some salt.
Oh, maybe I just have a lot of faith in Jungle Brand.
I'll play Jungle Braum
Nope,
tonight.
nope.
I'll make it happen.
It's salt.
I'll
I'm
play.
not patching then. I'm not even bothering patching this game then.
All right. Well, that's it, guys. I know we talked about it earlier in the show. There's some of you that might have tuned in later. Don't forget about the veterans piece that we talked about. I just want to bring it up one more time. Veterans are very near and dear to our heart. So if you're having problems, please, reach out. veteranscrisisline.net.
I've done a lot of head shaking every time you've talked about this, and I'm like, oh, that doesn't get conveyed in the recording at all.
Right. Where the
Yeah.
vast majority of our listeners.
Yeah, no, I know. It's like, oh yeah, like I'm really supporting, and then I like anybody looking is just thinking, oh damn, what an unsupportive asshole.
Yes, veteranscrisisline.net if you're having issues, if you have any problems, if you're thinking about suicide. Again, 22 veterans a day are committing suicide. That's a stat right now. And I think it's something that needs to be out there, that if you are a veteran, you have a veteran in your family of something, please talk to them. Please just get to know them. Please know that we are out there supporting every veteran. We love DeClaude. We love Shanghai 6. We love everybody who's active or former military. And I just want to make sure. I'm probably going to talk about this crisis line probably more likely for the next couple of podcasts, because it really
Good.
struck a chord with me today when I was listening to the radio and they brought it up. And again, I just want to put it out there too. We're not being paid by these guys to do this. This is totally free will. I think it's something that needs to be put out there. So other than that, that's it. That's PAC 6.19 discussion, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the Trinity Force podcast and supporting us. Please check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/TForce Network. And we will see you all on Monday with Ivor in discussion, because Cereal Box will be here in spades. Right?
Yeah,
What?
that's how I show up.
That's the same.
Was like a
I
York
thought
thing
you
or
were going.
just
No,
like
it was a. Oh yeah.
I mean, I know it's
not
an idiom, but okay.
I should have said
Okay.
that for Yorick.
There was a DeClaude pun in there somewhere.
Yeah, you
cut
missed
it.
the boat.
If you tried harder.
Should have been forward.
I'm glad you didn't. You know I've never liked those.
Can we just stop the podcast, please?
All right, see ya.
Hey guys.